favorite, Annie.
I'm
And
excited.
you haven't heard the story, have you?
I've held off reading. I love to ruin a good story, and I've held off because I want to hear it from
Oh,
you.
I'm so proud of you. This is gonna be so good.
You can ask Jeff. I ruin all movies.
Why don't you have like any light on your face, even your computer screen?
Because I'm using my iPad. So I swear there's like light in here. I thought I was gonna have the right amount. Hang on. Let me get a little bit. Okay, Holly, I'm working on it.
I mean, like, use your flashlight on your phone.
That's my business partner, everybody.
I get it from you.
That's too much. Okay, I'll use my flashlight. I like your idea.
Yeah, that might
Get
be
it by watching
cool.
you.
Full of
Okay.
great ideas today.
Weird.
I'm gonna go back to my Zoom so I can adjust. And the Marines would
Hey,
go,
Ann, can you
oh,
make me a co-host?
Yeah.
okay. Let's see here. Okay. How's that?
There you go.
You
Yeah, I like that.
How's this?
Ooh, are we gonna play my song? Or a song?
Yeah, let's play it.
Okay. I gotta remember how. All right. Sorry, I wasn't ready, guys. I forgot we were doing this.
Sorry, I'll just
It's a
edit all
good
this out.
song. It's a banger.
I think it's a banger, exactly.
Well, good. I'm gonna get. Oh wait, I have my chapstick.
Share computer audio.
I love everything we're able to do in Zoom. Zoom, give me money for saying that.
Right? Sponsored by.
Ooh, make a clip of that, Annie.
With my jazz hands.
Okay, so I linked, it's a little different than last time. Let me search by our name, my real estate co. It came up on YouTube even.
Yeah, and my mom said she found it on iTunes as well.
I made this kit for women that want to try makeup but don't know where to start.
Why
To
would you
celebrate the
pull it
5
up from
years,
YouTube?
we have
of all
5
things,
exclusive
Holly?
products. I'm very excited
Why?
about this year's Bobby kit. There are 2 different colorways. I'll tell you about the first one, which has the illuminator in baby pink, which can be used
You
all
can
over your
skip the
face
ad, you
for
know.
illumination. We have a mini Miracle Balm in chic. We also
In scene.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Your haunted dream, where the faucets bleed and the floorboards scream. Price reduced.
Witchmaster put it in gallery view.
Spirits stay. They don't care what you pray. I called the priest. He raised his feet. Sage and prayers might save me. The kitchen laughs, the stairwell moans, and now this house won't let me go.
Interpretive dancing for me.
The porch light flickers when I pull in. Listing said charming, but the walls are dim. Coffin brown trim and a creaking floor. As is, they said nothing more. Cobweb chandelier, curtains of dust. A whisper in the attic breaks my trust. Someone lived in this house before I signed, and I think they never left it behind. The agent swears it's just the breeze, but shadows move in 2s and 3s, and every key I turn tonight feels like I'm locking in
Good job, Holly.
The
Holly Brink,
basement
everybody.
smells like red and
That's enough.
red. There's something scratching in the drain.
That's a teaser, you
Can't
guys.
fix ghosts with fresh paint. We signed the deed in candlelight. The
Fade out.
neighbors wave
What's that?
I got to fade out.
Oh, we're gonna fade.
Okay, now we're good. I don't know why it hasn't kicked Life of a Showgirl out of the top 10 yet.
I think it's bullshit.
I mean, I've sent it to everybody I know,
It's
even
collusion.
some of our
I
four-
bet we'd get at least 10 signatures on that campaign.
I agree.
But I have a question for you guys. What genre? We were able to pick two genres for that song when we published it, and I picked rock for one of it because I felt like it had an Evanescence vibe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would
But
agree with that one.
okay, because I know it's slow, but I felt like it fit in a rock category because of the voice, even though it's slow. But like, I'm just curious what your guys' vibe is.
I also think like 1990s Wham Wham Girl, little like Alanis Morissette. What do you call it?
Ooh, yeah. Grunge,
Little grunge. Yeah, little sad grunge.
emo.
Little emo. Yeah, it's what I grew up with. That's my jam.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, next release will be a country song, and I'm working on our Christmas.
Oh my God,
Oh,
please.
I have the country song.
You do. I know. We have to research that. We need to check with the legal department first, though.
Yeah, we probably do.
And then we're working on our Christmas album. So
Oh,
I
good
mean,
God. Are you
I actually think I just checked with legal and I think it's okay.
I was gonna
It
say,
spits facts.
is the legal department in the same office as the HR department?
It's yes. Which means we're fucked.
haven't failed us yet.
Lord help us all.
Yes.
What I love is that on our Twitch, oh, where did it go? It says something about how there may be significant vulgar language, and I was like, what?
I didn't think I was that significant, but I guess if we're on Twitch and there's like 8-year-olds playing, but you know what? 8-year-olds playing video games are way worse.
Thank
Oh my
you.
Way
God.
worse than Sandy Burnett on a business
Yes.
call.
Yes.
I was like, what are you talking about, Twitch? Like, get off your high horse.
No, I think I had to check the box that it's not suitable for minors,
Yeah, we always do.
just to be safe.
Okay, let's rock and or roll. Okay. I'm gonna grab my water too. I am feeling I'm gonna need some water for this one. Okay, I'm so excited. This is gonna be so fun.
Emily's here.
Hi, Emily.
Have my ice
Hello.
You caught us just in time. I'm just starting to read The Watcher right now.
Yay.
cold. Did you listen to my Halloween song, Emily, that I sent you?
Wait, what?
No pressure. We just played my Halloween song, but I sent it to you, I think.
We're
Oh my
over
gosh,
that,
really?
Holly. We're starting the story.
All right, whatever.
Everybody, we're in story mode.
Yeah.
The Watcher House, Westfield, New Jersey, 2014. This is recent. Westfield was the kind of town people bragged about. Quiet, tree-lined, close to New York, but far enough to feel safe. Colonial homes with wraparound porches, manicured lawns, neighbors who waved but didn't pry. In June 2014, Derek and Maria, I really should look at these names ahead of time, but Brodus bought what they thought was their dream home, 657 Boulevard, 6 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, a sprawling front porch, and a reputation for charm. Damn, they're rich. Built in 1905, it had that perfect blend of old money character and HGTV potential. They paid 1.3 million. A stretch, but manageable. Derek had worked his way up to a senior position at an insurance firm. Maria was home with the kids, proud to raise them in the same town where she'd grown up. The plan was simple: finish renovations, move in by the end of summer. It started with one letter. The first letter. 3 days after closing, Derek stopped by the house alone to paint. The sun was setting. The neighborhood was quiet, the kind of suburban silence that hums in your ears. He checked the mailbox on his way out. Inside was a thick, white envelope addressed in large, looping handwriting to the new owner of 657 Boulevard. No return address. He opened it standing in the driveway. Dearest new owner at 657 Boulevard, allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood. 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now. And as it approaches its 110th birthday, I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s, my father in the 1960s. Now it is my time. Derek read on. Have you found what's inside the walls yet? I am pleased to know your names now, and the names of your young blood you have brought me. Then a chilling line. Will the young blood play in the basement? It would be far away from the rest of the house. If you were upstairs, you would never hear them scream. The letter ended with a signature. The Watcher. Derek's stomach turned cold. He ran inside, turned off every light, then called the Westfield police. Okay, this is 3 days after closing, you guys. Imagine selling this guy this house and this happens.
I get chills.
I know. Investigation begins. An officer arrived within minutes. He read the letter twice, then asked, "Do you have any enemies?" Derek shook his head. They walked the perimeter together, no footprints, no signs of forced entry. The officer told him to keep the letter, not to tell the neighbors, and to install cameras. Everyone's a suspect now, he said. When Maria entered, she thought it had to be a prank. Some bored teenager. She laughed at first, then stopped when she read the line about young blood. They hadn't even told anyone which rooms would be for the kids. The second letter. 2 weeks later, another envelope arrived. Same handwriting. Welcome again to 657 Boulevard. The renovations are disturbing me. It hurts me to see the house being changed. Have you found what's in the walls yet? It listed the children by nickname and birth order, details the Broaduses had never made public. I see you have painted the porch. The house is crying from all the pain you're inflicting. You don't want to make 657 Boulevard unhappy. This time, the letter mentioned their contractors by name. The neighborhood turns cold. The Broaduses called the police again. They contacted the previous owners, the Woods family, who admitted they had also received a letter. One just before moving out. They dismissed it as harmless. That detail changed everything. Derek and Maria stopped sleeping. They checked security feeds all night, stared at every car that slowed near the house. Maria wouldn't let the kids out of her sight. The police ran DNA tests on the envelopes. They canvassed the block. Nothing matched. Neighbors speculated quietly. Some thought it was a jealous buyer who'd lost the bidding war. Others thought it was someone who'd wanted the house's value to tank. Then came a third letter. Where have you gone to? 657 Boulevard misses you. I pass by many times a day. It is my job, my life, my obsession. I can see you. I can hear you. Come back and let the young blood play. They hadn't even moved in yet. The media storm. In 2015, the Broaduses sued the Woods family for non-disclosure, claiming they should have warned them about the previous letter. The case made national headlines. The Watcher story hit every outlet. The Cut, the New York Times, CNN. Reporters camped outside. Tourists drove by taking photos. The neighbors turned defensive. Angry that the story made their town sound dangerous, the Broaduses were trapped. They couldn't move in. They also couldn't sell. The house became a $1 million prison. That's when the hate mail started, not from the Watcher, but from the public. People accused them of faking it for attention or to escape a bad mortgage. One letter arrived addressed to them directly. Stop scaring the neighborhood. You're the problem, not the house. Derek started seeing cars idling near the house at night. Every silhouette in a window looked like a threat. They hired police investigators, a handwriting expert, even a former FBI agent. They built a psychological profile. The writer was likely middle-aged, intelligent, and obsessed with the property's lineage. But there was no clear suspect. Theories multiply. The neighborhood started to fracture under suspicion. One neighbor, a man named Michael Langford, became the focus early on. He lived next door in a house with a direct view of the porch. He was eccentric in his 60s, known to watch people from his window. When the police interviewed him, he denied everything. No evidence tied him to the letters. Still, Derek was convinced. Months passed. Another letter arrived. The house is patient. It is waiting for its second coming. I will be watching. The tone had changed. Less playful, more resigned, almost devotional. Investigators learned that the Langfords' home had been in their family for generations. The same phrasing the Watcher used in his first note. It was circumstantial but eerie. Then the DNA test came back. The saliva on one envelope belonged to a woman. The Langfords were ruled out. The trail went cold. Financial collapse. By 2016, the Broaduses were running out of options. They tried renting the house. Within weeks, tenants received their own letter. It has been years since the young blood ruled the halls. Have you found what's in the walls yet? The renters stayed, but under strict conditions. The Broaduses couldn't bear to drive past. In 2019, after 5 years of financial loss, they sold the house for $959,000. This is at a $400,000 loss. The buyer asked not to be named, and no new letters have been made public ever since. Unsolved. Police have never identified the Watcher. No arrests, no charges. Some believe it was a neighbor playing mind games. Others think it was someone connected to the house's history. A smaller camp still wonders if it was all staged, a hoax gone too far. But those who've seen the letters in person say the tone is too strange, too specific, too fixated on the house itself to be fake. To this day, the Westfield Police Department classifies it as an open investigation. The Broaduses eventually moved elsewhere in town, quietly, trying to rebuild a normal life. Derek once told The Cut, "It's like PTSD. You check your blinds twice. You learn not to trust the quiet." The house still stands, freshly painted, trimmed hedges, new owners who decline interviews, but locals still walk a little faster past 657 Boulevard. Because if the watcher was real, he could still be there watching. Okay, so what did we think about that story before we get into the real estate part?
It's good. I think it was the oldest kid who didn't want to live there.
Wouldn't that be funny?
That
I
would be a
think
very costly kid.
I know, right?
I think that this story is scarier than any, for me, I think it's scarier than any paranormal type story because it's somebody that is outside of your like paranormal. I feel like you can just kind of, I feel like you can kind of figure it out or like make it into a gimmick or do whatever you need to do. People have learned to figure that out. But this is almost like a stalker, like a physical stalker. And that is stalkers. I've been stalked before and it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I don't blame them taking that loss on the house either.
I think that might have been who it was, the people who got the really good deal. They figured out a way to get something under market value.
That's what I was thinking though. Like imagine the people that bought the house, like what if that was their long game?
Oh,
Okay, so here's the discussion points. Disclosure and liability. New Jersey law doesn't require sellers to disclose psychological stigma, but the Woods family's experience shows how gray that area can be. If a property carries any history that could affect a buyer's peace of mind, disclose it in writing. It's easier to explain the truth than defend silence in court. I love that quote. Josh, take a note. Number 2, buyer safety and perception. A property's reputation can be damaged by rumor faster than fact. Once the story hits social media, perception becomes reality. The Broaduses couldn't live there, not because of physical danger, but psychological invasion. Know how to manage the narrative when your listing becomes local gossip. And I love that. Like, always get in front of things, take control of it. That's great advice beyond, a situation like this. If you're ever facing something with any of your deals, get in front of it. Be the one to deliver the news yourself. The power of modern paranoia. Unlike haunted houses, this case is about human fear, surveillance, exposure, vulnerability. Buyers today are hyper aware of neighborhood safety and online chatter. Agents need to prepare to answer questions about what's not visible in a home. Number 4, media and market fallout. When the Watcher story broke, the property's value dropped 25%. And I think we've seen that exact statistic from weeks and weeks and weeks of reading these ghost stories too. Once stigma attaches, it lingers. Be proactive. Control the story early. Issue facts clearly and avoid no comment. Ambiguity feeds fear. And like Holly, I think you and I have kind of had some productive conversations on that lately. Like, it's okay to be like real about things and just be like, hey, here's that, here without oversharing, like, here's what I know, and just lay it out on the table and let other people decide for themselves instead of hiding behind a curtain of, a cold readout of something from ChatGPT or whatever that feels safe, right? Anybody can read a statement, my fellow Americans, right? But if you can, help people feel something, human to human, I think that could help, right? And then emotional aftercare. Clients traumatized by harassment or stalking often struggle to feel safe again. Part of your role is guiding them through relocation, privacy protection, and rebuilding trust in the process. Compassion matters as much as contracts. Holly and Lindsay and Josh, I don't expect any of you to know this off the bat, but I do have a question, and it involves how I could make my buyer anonymous when buying a property. So I would like to know in your states. The takeaway. The Watcher House reminds every agent that homes are more than structures. They're promises of safety. Break that, and the deal becomes personal. The Broduses didn't just lose money, they lost the belief that a dream home is ever truly theirs. Um, so yeah, and I've got all the sources here should anybody ever want me to post them. Should this be a podcast?
So, I mean, it probably varies per state. There would be a couple ways to handle anonymous buying in Iowa. One, you can write an offer and say you're going to withhold the name until the seller accepts, but it's not legally binding until two parties sign it. But the legal smart way to do it is probably to establish an LLC and then assign like an insignificant person to be the signer of the LLC. That way you don't reveal that you're Taylor Swift until, ever really. I'm sure that there's some LLC name and or account executive or something, is the one signing off on it. And that would be the safest way also in the long term, because then that is what would show up on tax records, and it would be a lot harder, not impossible, but a lot harder to find.
So like I know that a lot of law enforcement, they, because specifically Scott County where I'm at, they disclose the owners of every house in the parcel search. So it's very like they like to buy houses and immediately have, at closing their ownership changed. They're not so much nervous about upon writing the offer as closing. Real quick, Holly, that was a really cool feature about asking to take my photo, but I had no idea what you were doing, and I pressed allow, and it was like this angle of me, and that's not happening. You got to do it
I gotta
again.
put it everywhere, everywhere. I didn't know it was sending you a thing. That's funny.
It's
I just
cool.
posted in Facebook that we got a good angle though, Sandy. It's not a bad angle, I promise.
Yeah, I've been playing with the Zoom apps. And real quick before Josh and Lindsay answer, and then I'll stop talking. Also, each state has different laws and regulations around that kind of privacy. So if it's as important to a buyer, I would look into it further as far as like, do you need a court order? Can you just request that your tax assessor remove your name from the public site? There's also ways, which I would recommend to like celebrities even, to remove your interior photos from like public sites like Zillow and Realtor, and also remove it from Google. You can actually, I don't know how often you guys have ever seen it, but you can actually request that they strip your image of your property from Google. So someone's going down like the Google tour, it's just a blur. They can't even see like the exterior. And so for safety reasons, that's something that plenty of people should look into.
That's really neat. Could I remove my whole record from Forewarn?
No.
No, probably. There's probably a way to submit a request. Sounds like a new business. Just kidding. But yeah, Josh, Lindsay, do you have any thoughts on safety and buying anonymously?
Or any of this for your states? Any of anything from the watcher?
Oh, I've actually had this happen, which was funny because I had a client that really hated the neighbor, and the neighbor ended up buying the property. The neighbor, so you can, it's buying anonymously. You can,
You're
you
breaking up.
can
You're coming in broken, Lindsay.
identity,
Like, no matter how much I tilt my
trust, or
head,
another legal
the
entity
reception's
for the
just,
buyer.
I
You still have
know.
Donald Duck, but the last part has to be and or assigns.
yeah.
So and/or assigns basically says it can.
And she's gone. Josh, what are you?
So, from what I know, South Dakota, your best option would be to put it in an LLC because I don't think they have any way to redact it. Oregon did have a way to redact property records from the county records, so they wouldn't come up. So that was one thing in Oregon that we did. Oregon was also weird because when you call the Oregon DMV for your registration, you actually get routed to the prison. They're the ones that like are the switchboard for the DMV. That's part of their duty. So Oregon would issue what were called protected addresses on driver's license too. So that way, if you had some reason, like if you were an official person and you ever called the DMV, it was the prison, the address would come up with like your office building. So the prisoners wouldn't know who you were or where your address was. But
Okay, Lindsay, you're up. Try again.
I swear to God, I was toggling screens because I was referencing, I actually had two neighbors that hated each other, and the one neighbor wanted to buy the property. So he hired an attorney to write the offer for him. And in the state of Texas and maybe in other states, legally you can write in, Donald Duck and or assigns, and Donald Duck can, and or assign anyone to sign at closing. It's really common. It's really common in larger deals because sometimes, there'll be someone who goes, hey, I want to put this in an LLC, but I don't have the LLC ready yet. So I'll sign my name and or assigns, and at closing, we'll sign over under the LLC.
But is that the same as like wholesaling though? It almost
no, it's it tells the title company who's signing. It has nothing to do with wholesaling, and or assigns is a legal term.
Okay.
So it's whoever that, I could put, I've made an offer for clients before, and I would put Lindsay Holland and or assigns. And so, and or who I assign later, basically.
Holly, are we allowed to do that in Iowa? I've heard that term before, so I'm just curious. Okay, cool.
It's a legal term.
Yeah, I would say, I totally agree with Lindsay. I would say that it's used for good, but it is oftentimes an indication of a wholesale transaction. It just depends on the situation. So as an agent, I would ask more questions, but
okay.
Yeah.
I also have a follow-up question. Is it easy for me to look up an LLC and see who owns it?
I don't think so. Not in Iowa. Like you can look up the LLC, but you just see the authorized agent. So
yeah, so I'll give you guys an example because we use this a lot in Texas, because a lot of entities buy stuff, and or assigns has nothing to do with wholesaling. It has to do who's assigned to the contract. However, when you do a wholesale contract is assigning the contract to somebody else. So you will see it probably more commonly where you are. For us, commercial deals and larger deals like farm and ranch, like multi-million-dollar properties. Like I said, if a client doesn't have the LLC set up, it's just a very easy way to take and put the property under contract and say, hey, there may be another signer, but we want the deal. And or assigns is a legal term. It has to do, consult with your attorney. The reason I use it is that I've consulted with my attorneys, and in those scenarios, the biggest thing is that if your client wants to be anonymous, consulting with an attorney and finding a best way to set that up, because you can be truly anonymous. You can have a different signer for your LLC, your trust, or your legal entity. Funny about what you said, Sandy. So in Texas, or at least some of the deals I've done with police officers and law enforcement, they actually cloaked their information from the county appraisal district. You guys call it parcels up there. So I actually did a deal, and you couldn't even find the property because they cloak it. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
You can't do it. Just consult an attorney because they know the ways and the proper channels. And then, just how to cover the name on the contract and or assigns is pretty much the only way I've ever heard of and the most commonly used in our area.
Here's something else I would like to say since point out since we're wrapping up our, Halloween ghost stories and we talk about, I keep saying, what if you're the agent that sells somebody this house? So let's talk about that. What if you're the agent that sells any of these people, any of these houses we talked about, and the buyer comes back to you and says, Josh, what the fuck? Like, you sold me this house. I'm going to be completely underwater. They didn't disclose anything. I need you to get me out of this, blah, 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 blah. Like, their first call is going to be their agent after this. So, Josh, how would you handle this phone call?
I think the first thing is, if it wasn't my transaction, it was someone else's, looking at the actual transaction itself and what we have for documentation on said transaction. And then the first thing I think is to figure out, like, what is their actual, like, complaint? Like, is this a non-disclosure issue that we're dealing with? Is this a they didn't do their due diligence issue? What are we really dealing with, and define that first. And then I think really it's just a matter of talking to these people and being honest with them, because most likely, realistically, short of something major coming up, there's not a lot in South Dakota we could do about it. If there truly was a non-disclosure issue, then yes, maybe. But my guess is, in a situation like this, it's you didn't do enough due diligence. So guiding them through that process. And yeah, I think it's going to be tough to, even if it is truly a non-disclosure issue, proving that is going to be a whole different thing too.
Mm-hmm. I think I agree with a lot of what you said, to like kind of find out exactly what are you calling me about exactly? What is your complaint? What are you trying to get out of this, right? But I want to warn agents not to overstep, because your duty ends at the end of the transaction, and you want to make sure, i.e. your E&O ends at the end of the transaction. So you don't want to accidentally get roped into something that you aren't protected by. You don't want to get roped into drama that you're not protected by. Let's talk about if you were on the list side of it, though. We do have E&O in 49 out of the 50 states. Our company paid for an upgrade to our E&O for everybody to have a unique value proposition for owner-occupied listings. This is for $25,000 at no charge to the seller, up to 180 days protection after closing. So keep that in mind. We don't like to talk about it as insurance. We like to say like peace of mind, because then a million people start asking questions that I don't feel like getting into. But just keep that in the back of your head. If somebody calls on the listing side, maybe start to look into our E&O side of things. If somebody calls on the buy side, I usually say, look, you got to start talking to an attorney, and here's what you're probably going to spend a bunch of money for the attorney to tell you. I at least say that, which I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I do.
Yeah, Sandy. I think, in my experience, that's when agents get in the most trouble, is when we're trying to be helpful. They say the path to hell is paved with good intentions, and it's so true. Like, more often than not, when our agents get in trouble, it's because they were trying to go above and beyond, or they were doing something to be helpful, and then oh my gosh, now all of a sudden they're practicing law, or oh my gosh, like they put themselves in pretending like they were a home inspector. Like, So yeah, you have to just make sure that you stay in your lane, be compassionate in this situation, but like don't, don't admit to anything and just, make sure you contact your broker so we can do more research and find out what, if anything, you're culpable of. Now, anyone can sue anyone for any reason. Most of the time, buyers don't sue their own buyer's agent unless it's catastrophic and their lawyer's like, we're suing everybody to see what sticks, because they like to just throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. But that's why we have E&O insurance, and that's why, we train on that. And in some states, you can get your own policy, which I never think is a bad thing. Um, you know, uh, but yeah, the path to hell is paved with good intentions. And I swear, every time we go above and beyond or bend over backwards, it's just a problem.
And I
And
say no good deed goes unpunished. That's
yeah,
what I say.
it's probably better.
They're both correct,
Mhm.
We're both right.
Okay.
I like be the source of the source.
Yeah.
That's my go-to.
Amen, Josh. Amen.
hmm Well, this was a great. Nate, did you have anything to say? I saw you were unmuted, so I just wanted to ask. Okay,
No,
cool.
I'm good.
No, I just wanted to check. You guys, this was a great wrap up to our Tactical Tuesday ghost stories. We're gonna continue with story story style
Training.
themes. Yeah, for our Tactical Tuesday because we think that they're, really hitting home for agents. What do they say? Facts tell, stories sell. So we want you to be able to understand how things can impact your business. So we're going to keep not necessarily ghost stories, like the month of October is over, but we're going to be talking about specific stories that have impacted agents' business and very much could impact your business. And we'll be doing more story format and more discussion. Some of it is things that are currently ongoing right now. Some of it's hot tea. So we'll definitely be letting you know when we're kicking those out, but they will be on Tactical Tuesdays. Holly, close us out.
All right. Hey, when in doubt, reach out, message us if you need us. We are here for you. We all started this Tuesday morning with a blank slate at 0. So make sure you go out and talk to a buyer, a seller, or an agent today. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.